now I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Awesome. How's everyone doing?
Good. How you doing, Cash?
I'm doing well, I'm excited to be a part of this. Thank you for inviting me, Luke.
Welcome. Loving the sweatshirt.
Yeah, always repping. You know that.
Awesome. Well, Nick, we appreciate you coming in and joining us for this conversation here. I think the first block of conversations, from what I could tell, went really well, and the numbers in here are awesome. And I know I've heard some really good things about you from Luke and some of the other student athletes who I know you've been working with, which is awesome. So we're excited to kind of hear your conversation and have a little bit of discussion here. But I guess I'm going to turn it over to Connor. He's going to do a quick little intro for you, and then we'll pass it over to you.
Awesome, that sounds good.
Sounds good. Thanks for being here, Coach Stoop. I think we have just about everyone here, so just a quick little intro. So Nick Stoop here is an athletic trainer stationed out of Annapolis, Maryland, and his brand LFG, Let's Feel Good, is used to motivate athletes physically and mentally. Coach Stoop will be sharing how exercise and nutrition are vital to mental health. And just a quick disclaimer, if for any reason you need to leave the conversation, you're free to do so, and if you need immediate support, please contact the Wellness Center at 240-895-4200. So without further ado, Coach Stoop, take it away.
Thank you for that intro and for the claps. I'm excited to be here. I'm definitely excited to share my story with you all and how both exercise and nutrition have played a huge role for not only my mental health or my physical health, but my mental health as well. Just a little bit of information about me. I started Custom Wellness Solutions a few years back, doing more so like the nutrition and training for athletes. And I've always been very passionate about mental health. For as long as I can really remember, I've suffered from depression, and it wasn't really until my junior year in college when I herniated 2 discs in my lower back and was out for that whole year, did that depression really hit and go to a whole new level. That was the first time I really experienced not being able to have what I was most passionate about, playing lacrosse, exercising, training, and I didn't really know as much about nutrition then, and looking back, I made a lot of mistakes in terms of what I did from a nutritional standpoint, as well as a mental health standpoint, that only made things worse at the time. But I am grateful that I had gone through that, because if it wasn't going through that and gaining that self-awareness about what I went through, I wouldn't be doing what I am doing today with CWS or LFG. So we kind of go into my story a little bit. After my injury, and they told me that I wasn't going to be playing lacrosse or exercising for the foreseeable future, and probably would be missing a whole year, I immediately was filled with all sorts of negative emotions. I was in disbelief, I was pissed off, I was extremely upset, I was sad, very depressed, and didn't really know what I was really going to do. That's all I really know. And being in the amount of physical pain that I was in, I turned to alcohol to try to make it from one day to the next. The pain physically and looking back, knowing what I was going through mentally, were just like so unbearable. I would literally just drink myself to sleep every night, and in hopes to just make it to the next morning, just to do the same thing day in and day out. Not having really any awareness or knowing as much about just how much that was delaying not only my recovery, but making both the mental and physical problem exponentially worse. And now looking back and having worked with so many athletes, both recovering from an injury and over this past year especially, mentally, being able to be there, being able to be some kind of support mechanism for them, an outlet with the Beast Bus or working out, helping them from a nutritional aspect with both the recovery and even trying to help enhance mood through not only exercise but nutrition and even supplementation, which I can share more with you on regarding that information later. But it was definitely an experience I wouldn't wish on anyone. But I do know that it's unfortunately inevitable, and many people will go through that, whether it's a physical injury that leads to depression, or someone who's suffering from depression or mental illness, who's known that their whole life or has developed that due to some type of traumatic experience, whatever it might be. And one thing I definitely never really understood or realized was just how many other people were going through what I was going through at the time, as well as like not really having the strength or courage to reach out for help. Not more so thinking that I was kind of alone and I'd rather deal with this alone, and I didn't want to be a burden on others. But I didn't realize just how strong my support was around me with my family and my friends. And instead of reaching out to them, I ended up pushing them away more and more, which in my habits with the drinking all the time and not really focusing so much on like school or things that made me happy, or looking for something positive, or trying to stay optimistic, continuously going down that spiral. It was definitely tough, but I learned so much from that, and I've been able to help so many other people who are going or have gone through that. I was kind of sick and tired of being in pain and depressed and sad and upset and always so mad and irritable. And I felt so good after exercising. It brought that passion back to me. It gave me something to look forward to every day, even if it was just getting in there for 10 minutes. It really started to change my outlook, made me make better nutritional decisions, better decisions daily. I didn't drink nearly as much as I was prior to, and going through all like the therapy and the rehab, going 4 times a week for nearly 2 hours a day. And when I started making those changes, my progress from therapy and the rehab started really increasing, and that gave me a lot more hope. Looking back now, I realized just how much of a deterrent I was to my own progress, both from a physical standpoint and mental standpoint, going through that, and try to be there and share what I went through with athletes that might be going through a very similar circumstance. I started seeing that progress again, which gave me even a little bit more excitement. And then when I really started implementing the nutritional strategies that I had been researching about with recovery, individuals who had certain injuries, things to help with reducing inflammation, I also stumbled upon some information about nutrition to help with like depression associated with injury, which I thought was very interesting. And some of the things they had mentioned was making sure that you're getting enough vitamin D, whether that's naturally through the sunlight or even supplementing with vitamin D. I know a majority of the population, the vitamin D levels are extremely suppressed, which vitamin D is very important for so many different functions within the body. And when I started supplementing with the vitamin D and the fish oil that I was already using to help with the inflammation, fish oil can also help with cognitive function and boosting mood. I started also finding other things like learning about like the gut microbiome and just how much of an impact and how much communication there is between your gut microbiome and your brain. I started changing my diet, looking for more fibrous foods, switching out the refined carbohydrates, or more like the crappy carbs as we call them, with better food sources, focusing on getting enough fat, healthy fats in my diet. Fat is so important for hormone function, and it's oftentimes been so demonized in terms of consuming fat makes you fat. It's not good for you. It's not good for blood vessel health or artery health or heart health, when in reality your body needs a lot of healthy fat in order to be able to create the hormones necessary for so many different functions in the body, and it's also important for brain health, for reducing inflammation as well, for enhancing recovery. It's important for both cellular function and cellular integrity. You have cholesterol is a part of almost all of your fat, the bilipid membranes of your cells, to help with providing structure and allowing for certain nutrient transport. In terms of brain health and brain function, a lot of your neurons have what's called a myelin sheath, which is essentially a fat that wraps around that neuron that allows messages to get sent more efficiently and better. And what happens, for instance, like when you're doing certain reps and you keep, like you're getting shots, you're taking shots, you're hitting the wall, performing very specific reps constantly as part of your warm-up or whatever you're doing for your sport, that's helping increase the myelination to allow that mind-muscle connection to be much more efficient, and it helps really ingrain that movement pattern in your body. Well, when you're not getting enough of these certain nutrients, not only is it going to impact you from a mental standpoint and how it really negatively impacts your gut microbiome, but it also will degrade your body over time. Your body will start atrophying. If you're not getting enough of those nutrients from your diet, it's going to take those nutrients from your body, whether that's from your cells, from your muscle, from certain parts that you might store those nutrients in. And now, instead of being able to just maintain or grow, you're going to start degrading your body. And I had physically seen and felt that whole shift from being at where my peak was post-injury to being to the worst off I had ever been, and then slowly coming back, getting better and stronger and more mentally resilient afterwards. Some of like the supplementation that I had used, other than just like the vitamin D and the fish oil, I started supplementing with probiotics along with changing my diet, and to help restructure that gut microbiome with more favorable, good, healthy bacteria that allowed for just optimal digestion and gut health, but also boosting my immune system and my mood. And I was looking into different foods that would also help with boosting mood, and one of the ones that was very powerful in doing so, and you can almost get, or at least for myself, you can kind of feel that almost instantly, is like consuming a banana. It has this, the nutrients within it, and consuming that actually gives you a little bit of like a euphoric, happy feeling. It's very potent for boosting mood, plus it has so many incredible micronutrients and a great source of energy for fuel for your body, whether it's pre or post workout or practice or games. That's really most of like what I wanted to share in terms of like what I went through. In terms of like the exercise, for me, the gym had always been an outlet for me. Before I even really knew that I was suffering from depression, even though I would feel off, I would always feel so much better when I would be in the gym, or even after going to the gym. I would be looking forward to going to the gym. I didn't have a good day at school, or things not going well for me, whatever it might be. It didn't matter when I was in the gym. I could take all my anger and frustration, sadness, or whatever was going wrong, and I could just focus that energy on throwing some weights around and getting better. And when that was taken away, I was very lost. Both lacrosse and the exercising had been my really only means of an outlet that I didn't even realize until they were taken from me, that I kind of took for granted. But I lost that ability to not only have that outlet, didn't realize just how much it was doing for me from a mental standpoint, being able to release those endorphins and that feel of accomplishment that you get from completing a workout, especially when it's like a hard workout and you feel like you hit a new PR, you're hitting certain benchmarks in the gym or with your training. You get that sense of accomplishment, and that having that gave me like purpose. I wasn't just training for myself, I was training to get better for my team. so that I could do my job on the field better, so that it would put our team in a better position to win. And looking back on how I lost that, now I try to find ways to keep athletes and individuals who are going through injuries engaged and give them some type of goal or purpose or something to look forward to. For instance, like some of the therapy that I went through was mostly entirely passive, like the traction therapy for my back, getting certain like ultrasound or stem or red light laser therapy. You're not really doing anything. It's more so being done for you or to you. The dry needling, as opposed to finding ways that you can be more active without creating more damage or more pain, like getting in the pool, finding certain movements or exercises that you can do. For instance, I've got a number of athletes who've experienced like a shoulder or knee injury on one side. Well, we can still focus on the upper or lower body, whichever hasn't been impacted, as well as focusing on the opposite side that wasn't impacted or affected. Focus on what you can control and not what you can't. After an injury, you can't control that you've got the injury, but you can control what you do to manage the pain, your recovery process, what you plan on doing in terms of your rehab and reconditioning, return to play. And one of the biggest and probably the most impactful things that happened for me while I was going through this whole process, I was very fortunate to have an awesome coach who was great for all of us on the team, and he was always looking out for our best interests. And he wanted me to continuously be heavily involved with the team in terms of going to practice, working with the defense, trying to keep me mentally invested, because he could see where I was headed in terms of my mental health, and it was not good. And I didn't realize just how much of a role that played in giving me some kind of hope or even some kind of purpose when I was going through that. And looking back, I couldn't thank him enough for what he had done for me. That not only gave me a sense of purpose and gave me something to look forward to every day, but also made me such a better athlete, a better player, learning from the coach's standpoint and the coach's point of view, and being able to see things developing from the sideline and having that understanding for when we're in the game, like coaches articulating certain things, having a much better understanding and awareness of what he actually means by what was going on. But it's also really helped me become the coach and the trainer that I am today. So I'm very thankful to have had him there for me when I was going through all this. That's really all that I wanted to share, that I had planned. I'd love to spend more time answering questions that you might have.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Andy?
Yeah, I was like looking at your website a little bit, and I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about how what you do might benefit people like that are here right now in this chat, and if there's any ways to get involved, or just how we can go about supporting the cause.
No, I appreciate that, and absolutely. So right now we're still working on set up the whole back end logistics and infrastructure for LFG, and one of the missions that I have with the LFG is being able to provide like grants, not only resources and connecting individuals with the help they might need, but being able to provide grants so that people can afford the help that they need if it might not be covered with their insurance, or if they might have to pay out of pocket, whatever it might be. I want to try to be able to not only connect people with those resources to get the help they want, but also so that there's no barriers in connecting them and allowing them to get that help. In terms of being like supporting, honestly, right now, following us on like social media on Instagram at LFG Org, and any of the apparel that's on our website at letsfeelgood.org, all of those proceeds goes towards everything that we're trying to do and help others. From the custom wheel solutions standpoint, the resistance bands that we sell, I'm taking a % of those proceeds and we'll be donating directly that towards the LFG mission. So there's definitely a couple ways to get involved, or even just donations in general. We set up a donation option as well, and just sharing what we're trying to do with others. If you know people that would benefit, might be going through something, or just benefit from what we have to offer, sharing that with them as a resource is beyond greatly appreciated. Any way I can help anyone I can, as many people as I can, any way I can, I definitely will. And if anyone has any questions, or ever needs just someone to reach out to, wants to talk, or wants to learn more about maybe what I went through, or share more about what I went through to help with what you might be going through, you can always reach out to me on Instagram, email, via the website, whatever it is. I'm always here to help.
Well, I know, Nick, it's been powerful just to be so open and vulnerable with the student athletes and other coaches, administrators that are on here. I think hopefully it makes people realize that they're not going through things by themselves, and there's a lot of other support and things out there. So just very much appreciate that. And again, we've got about 10 more minutes or so. Certainly we don't have to stay on here the entire time if people don't have questions, but if there are any other questions here, either you can just unmute yourself and kind of throw them out. You can put them in the chat if you'd like to. No pressure at all, but just want to make sure that we get to everybody as well. So, Connor, your group.
Yeah, I have a kind of specific question about. So we have our first 2 games tomorrow, and I know you obviously are very knowledgeable on nutrition, and we have like a 30-minute window in between games, and we're out there on the field for like 9 hours when we have double headers. So could you maybe speak on or give a few suggestions on the type of things we need to be putting in our bodies, specifically after the first game, so we have enough energy to keep going?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a great question, and definitely have a lot of experience having played in and coached teams in tournaments where you're kind of playing back to back to back, and that nutrition in between games is very important, because as you're continuing to play, obviously you're burning through so much energy, and then the more you go through, the more that impacts your performance. Some of the things that I highly recommend before leading up to that first game is making sure you're getting a lot of good, quick and fast acting carbohydrates. So for instance, maybe that morning, knowing that you're having a double header, having some kind of rice with eggs is one of my favorite things to have in the morning. We would call them beast bowls, and it's making food that's very easy digesting, that's also very nutrient packed. So one of my go-tos would be white rice with scrambled eggs and hot sauce, and making sure you put a lot of salt in there. Salt is very important for so many functions within the body. It's very important for cellular hydration, for nerve conduction, muscle contraction. It also helps with nutrient delivery and glucose metabolism and uptake into the cells. So having more fruits, having protein, the eggs, chicken, protein shakes, some protein bars might not be bad, but having something that is easier on digestion, knowing what you can eat and that won't give you an empty stomach or make you feel too full, is also important. In between games, what I used to provide for my athletes would be a protein, some type of protein shake or protein source, and having some fruit or Gatorade, bananas, whatever it might be, but trying to focus more on simple, fast-acting carbohydrates, getting enough protein, and replenishing sodium and potassium. Even some of like the saltier foods, like honestly crackers, pretzels, even chips might not be bad because it's a very fast digesting carbohydrate that gives a lot of energy, and it also has more sodium. So kind of if you can't necessarily have like the fruit or something, and you want to just have something quick, I've even used gummy bears as like quick sources of energy to keep the blood glucose levels high and help replenish muscle glycogen stores. Some supplements that would be beneficial, for instance, would be like BCAAs, branched chain amino acids. They're very specific amino acids or protein that help with growth and repair, but they also actually help with fighting mental fatigue. They compete with L-tryptophan in the brain, and in times of exercise, as we get mentally fatigued, BCAAs have been proven to help reduce and slow mental fatigue. So for instance, taking BCAAs, mixing it in with Gatorade in between your games, like 5 grams of BCAAs with like just a regular size Gatorade, maybe even adding a little bit more salt to that Gatorade would help drastically, as opposed to like doing nothing. And also making sure you're hydrating. You're drinking enough water the day prior, so today, making sure you're getting enough water in, making sure you're getting some good meals in today. Having 2 games tomorrow, that nutritional strategy, that plan also starts the day before. Making sure, like, it's around almost 1 o'clock now, so having at least 3 solid meals. Maybe that's like a pasta and chicken, like rice and steak, Chipotle is a good option. Some like foods like that are more nutrient dense, that give you good healthy protein and good healthy carbohydrate stores are very important. And then as you're getting ready for bed, going or closer to bedtime, like having more healthy fats, like with that last meal or a snack like apple and peanut butter, or if with that last meal having like a fattier type of meat, or like doing whole eggs, or making a protein shake or a smoothie with whole milk is good, because that healthy fat's going to help with the hormone production, as I mentioned, and your body does the most healing and recovery while you sleep, and that's done both with the nutrients you take in and then the results of those nutrients in terms of the metabolic pathways that they turn on, as well as the nutrients provided to allow for like that hormone function, that hormone release to allow for that growth and that recovery to take place. Hopefully that answers your question and gives you some good ideas and some good things to try to implement.
Eating like a lot of probiotics today, so that you do have like a healthy digestive system before the games.
Yes, I highly recommend taking the probiotics. That's gonna help. That's something that you can implement and do every day, whether that's supplementing with probiotics or getting those probiotics from sources like yogurt, dairy, cheeses, stuff like that. Cottage cheese is high in healthy fats, got a lot of good healthy bacteria, microbacteria in there to help fuel the good bacteria in your gut. But yeah, it'll definitely help. It'll help in a number of different ways, not only long-term with mood, but it's also going to help enhance digestion. The more efficient and the better your digestive health is, the more nutrients you can extract, and the more nutrients you can utilize, the more substrates, whether that's the carbohydrates or the protein or the fat that you're consuming, the more your body can take that in and actually utilize that, as opposed to just being excreted, coming in and going right out. It also helps boost your immune system. I think it's been shown that 70% of our immune system health starts in the gut, so that'll help keep you healthy, which is very important, especially during the time in which we live right now. But it's also important because as athletes, the more you play, especially as you progress through seasons, that's not only taking a physical toll on your body, but that physical toll can then manifest from suppressing your immune system function, not being able to recover fully every day because we're not getting enough or adequate nutrients. That's going to impact our performance later on in the season. So it's definitely a good tool, definitely something to utilize and implement today and every day, really.
Sweet, thank you.
Absolutely.
So we're coming up to kind of the final time here, kind of last opportunity for any questions from anybody. And if not, I'll turn it back over to Connor here for just a second.
Yeah, so if there's no more questions, yes, thank you again, Coach Stoop. It was great to be able to hear your story, and definitely some really beneficial tips for us athletes out here, both on the mental and physical side of things. And thank you again. We really appreciate it. And then I guess turn it back over to Coach Kretsch for raffle and our, yeah.
You're more than welcome. I enjoyed being a part of this. Thank you for having me, and thank you for all the awesome questions.
No, everything was great, Nick. We appreciate your time. Like I said, just your honest and vulnerability and to open up with us is fantastic here. And as you mentioned, student athletes bring in great questions, and hopefully everybody was able to pick something up that you guys can take with you and kind of hold on to, whether it's a nutrition-based thing, whether it's something related to something else here. Anybody that is part of this, we put you into a random kind of number generator. There's going to be a small little raffle. So Ethan Gray won the raffle here for this panel. I will send your name to Maddie Webb. She will be in touch with you. I believe you guys can pick stuff up. I believe between 1 and 2 p.m. over at the benches, picnic tables by the pub in LQ. But Maddie will reach out to you. Nick, we appreciate your time. We will have something for you as well, just a small gift for your time and coming in. And hope the rest of the day goes well. Good luck to you guys. Anybody that has games coming up here over the weekend, next couple of days. If you've just got practice and stuff, then good luck with those. And you guys enjoy the weekend and continue to do all the great things that you guys are doing here at St. Mary's and with your own programs and teams.
Thank you so much for having me. Good luck to everyone who has games this upcoming weekend. And as always, LFG.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
I love doing talks like that. I love being able to share information, educate, and empower. It's so exciting. It was awesome. It motivates me to just keep wanting to do more.